trying to find a way.
It's not okay.
We gonna lose an hour. We about to lose an hour in this show.
Men and women are a whole new generation. They're not trying to sit back because you know something, brother? We have passed on a legacy of cowardice to our people.
On the Willie Lynch letter, when or are provoked.
Something is wrong with it. We have to put aside our differences and we have to come together as one under the umbrella of a suffering people. And we have to demand justice now here in this country. I'm going to tell you something. America is under God's judgment. You could take it or leave it alone. You can look at all of the atrocities that are happening in this country. When you check out the weather, you just heard about something about there was a little mini earthquake in Rhode Island.
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay? Let me tell you something. God got his hand on America. You could take it or leave it alone. We can keep acting up if we want to, and we're going to go right down with America. You watch and see what I tell you. It's now 10 minutes approaching the hour of 1 o'clock, 90.7 WTCC FM, Respectful Life Show. Brother Johnnie Muhammad and Brother Andrew, a.k.a. Soul Keaton. We're going to be with you from now until the hours of 2. Phone lines will be open at 413-736-2781. That number once again is 413-736-2781. Give us a call right here inside the Respectful Life Show. As you know, brothers and sisters, there's so much going on in the country. We're more concerned with foolishness than we are with that of our people being murdered in the street. You know, oh my goodness, all the things that has happened that we've been seeing, we're more concerned with foolishness.
You get. It's funny though, Brother Johnny. You got more people. You had this Deflategate that people getting just enamored with, and I even have brothers amongst my circle that I thought was more conscious talking about how many games Brady should get, but yet we put a post up about the young lady, had 2 people comment on the post. And people, and see, that's you know, you don't want to take Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as the be all or end all, but you also you see where people's consciousness levels at when you see these social media events, because it's ridiculous how you can put a video up of 2 individuals fighting and get all kind of responses, and put a conscious quote on "Know thyself" and don't get no comments, and people run right by you and you get no comments. So we are enamored with just foolishness, man. I mean, you just have all kind of crazy stuff going on. Then you had the whole Jenner effect, which is just, I don't know how it's still picking up momentum, but it's just picking up momentum.
What?
That Bruce
Jenner?
Crazy Carla, whatever Jenner, who it is, effect
Bruce
that
Jenner.
you had. And see, and just like I said, you know, black folks sit up there and applaud the civil rights movement, and we are damn fools, because the only thing that we gained out of civil rights movement is a backseat, because the LGBT movement is more stronger than the damn civil rights movement. It's more stronger than any movement in this country, and they piggyback off in the whole civil rights movement, and we still look at and say that there's progress. Ain't no damn, what progress have we made? We ain't made no progress yet. You got all these movements, the Asian movement, all these movements come in this country and benefit more than than we have benefited from the civil rights movement. We paved the door and everybody else knocked it down. Now the strongest movement in this country, and you can argue all you want to, is the LGBT movement, because if that wasn't the case, you wouldn't have all the gay marriages, you wouldn't have all the gender stories, you wouldn't have all of this. And I'm not knocking anybody's lifestyle. What I'm saying to you is we paved the way and got nothing out of it. Not a damn thing, nothing out of it.
Well, that's because we're still singing "We Shall Overcome." Okay? We're still singing it to this day. Here it is 20, 30 some years later, and we're still singing "We Shall Overcome." You know why we haven't overcome, Brother Andrew? Because we didn't
singing
no,
it.
no, it's not because we keep singing, it's because we didn't put a date on it.
Right.
Because as you know, the way the song goes, it said "We shall overcome someday." Well, what day? When will we put a time for overcoming? I'm saying we should put it now and stop singing Kumbaya and all that. Come together. No. We need to separate. I don't care. Listen, let me tell you something. If a man does not treat you right, why would you stay amongst him? Why would you stay amongst them?
Listen, in the Willie Lynch letter, when they said it was 1711, whatever, they put a 300-year time period on the Willie Lynch letter. When 2011 came around, we still did nothing about it. So are we putting time? What are we putting dates on, Brother Johnny? Because we still acting, seem like we're just getting dumber and dumber, and we just getting dummy down and dummy down. But we have a caller.
Well, we got a caller. Praise be to Allah. We got a caller. Caller on the air.
First of all, it's good to come on the air. Got you doing my show. Had a big meeting, and just give you a little heads up. We have Maurice Starr coming into town next month, so definitely working on seeing if I can get him on my show. And I think he could be a good vocal point, for y'all format too. Because I like to, for us to come together too. But let me just talk about what I really want to talk about, because I think it's really important. I've been paying attention of late of the record numbers of homicides going on in many cities throughout our country, and it's alarming. I mean, it's nothing new, but the fact that, the time span we thought crime was coming down in certain cities, and actually the crime was coming down. But if you're looking at cities now that's experiencing homicides that we may not even be paying attention to, Milwaukee is going through an alarming homicide rate. Even here in Hartford, I had the mayor on my program this past Monday. We've had a lot of senseless killings.
Hey, Brother John, I want you to, when you talk about that, I want you to highlight the stuff that's going on in Hartford, because Hartford, the last 3 months has been off the charts, man.
Well, it has been. And you know what? The mayor was indicating that he felt the shooting task force, the resources towards that has been reduced, and he's lobbying. We had a big meeting with the governor and the mayor, along with the police chief and other state officials, the chief state attorney, all came together, and we're looking for the state now to pump more resources in. But obviously, the shooting task force was what the mayor really wants to see implemented back again. And I have no problem with that, because I think anytime you can get guns and some hardened criminals off of your streets, and we had a low homicide rate, last year, we actually one homicide away from what we had for the entire year last.
Brother Jonathan, could you explain what the shooting task force is?
Something, I guess, that's worked together with the police department. I don't know all the ins and outs, but it's something that works with the police department on statewide levels to address getting guns, going after certain criminals. They just get a certain amount of extra resources and finance, towards your probation officers, and you work with the inmates that's being released from prison. You have a better monitoring system with those guys. You have a better overall tracking systems of certain criminals that's being released, because a lot of your problems are coming from basically the reentry system. When you have Hartford, like many other urban cities, get a lot of released inmates, and these guys end up coming back to your neighborhoods really ill-equipped. So that's part of it, but that's not all of it. But it's like a task force that's designed to go directly after guns, working most likely with the ATF and the DEA and the FBI. It's like a big collaboration. And, basically Hartford is a city that could be shut down technically if, the state officials and the law enforcement would want to do that. So I'm just giving you the best understanding of what I know about the shooting task force. I'm not saying that's exactly how the whole operation goes under, but that's part of it. And I think anytime you bring the DEA, you get the chief state's attorney, you get extra manpower when you need it. that goes away. That goes towards helping your local police officers with the extra assistance that they need to go out there and attack crime and attack criminals. And I don't know how much money you have to actually fund the shooting task force.
But brother Jonathan, let me just say this, and I know brother Johnny, we have talked about this before. Why every mayor and governor is always talking about throwing extra troops and money at the problem? That's not the problem. The problem is if you have these task force and they're solely to look for guns, why aren't they looking for guns? It's not like they don't have a beat and know where these guns are. I'm telling you what I know. I mean, it's not like they don't know and it's this big Carmen Sandiego, where is the gun at type thing. Why is it always the lack of resources?
He didn't say it, but the police chief stated at one time that the support that he was getting with there's different organizations that also work with the police department. We have the Mothers United Against Violence. We have Hartford Community That Cares. And he felt the police chief is not just the task force alone, but the collaboration with the different organizations in the community goes a long way, because sometimes you have to they can feed the police department a lot of information ahead of time. You might have some incidences that's about to get out of control, certain guys that might be beefing with each other, and the type of organizations that work with these individuals know exactly what's about to happen. And these organizations work with the mayor's office, and they also work with the Hartford Police Department. So it's not just the state task force alone that is the solution. But they're going to get the credit, obviously, because that's what the media pumps. They tell you the shooting task force, and they go by the numbers of homicides that have been reduced. Just like the Million Man March, in 1995, Giuliani got a lot of credit when crime came down in New York, but it was the collaboration of the things in the community to go along with just Giuliani. It wasn't just Giuliani alone, but he got a lot of the credit.
Well, yeah, he did get a lot of credit, but we know that when we were all at the Million Man March, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us to go back. He instructed us to go back to our communities and work in our communities, and told the men to hit the streets to change the condition of their community. So it wasn't the police, it wasn't a collaboration, it was the men who came and heard a word from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and from the spirit of the Million Man March, took it back to their communities, and we changed the condition of our community.
I don't want to be concerned with whether it's the doctor that's saving me or it's the nurse that's saving me. I want to get saved. I want the bleeding to stop. So I agree with what you're saying. People should not be misconcepted to believe that the police department is the real solution towards this problem. But I think the point, what I don't want to get missed out on, is that we're dealing with record numbers of homicides in cities, and these are mostly black men that's being killed. And if we keep adding up the amount of black men year after year that's being killed, mostly in inner cities, but it's not even just that alone, we're going to lose a certain percentage of our population, and it's going to have it's already having a devastating impact on many families, because these men have children, these men have mothers, they have fathers. So the whole family is being brought down into this plight. It's not just the gunshot killing of a victim and the person that kills the person. It's other family members that's being brought down and being devastated too. And I don't know if we are not paying attention to the full extent of how bad these cities are being plagued with crime. And I just want to find out maybe from you, Brother Johnny, Jim Brown, I felt, had a big impact with a lot of gang members in Los Angeles. His American Cares program and other initiatives that he, was able to reach the gang members, talk to them, get the respect from them. I'm not saying he was the one that, caused the truce after the riots or anything like that, but he played a role, I think, that he was a vocal point in knowing how to get the gang members together, how to talk to them, how to work with them, how to find out their particular needs. And I feel personally Minister Farrakhan, starting in his city of Chicago, could be the focal point of knowing how to reach these men that are out in, hardcore gangs and gang banging and, killing people, killing innocent bystanders. And I don't know if he has a plan for this particular problem separate towards what you are advocating with unity leading up towards the Million Man March 20-year anniversary. So I'd like to see if you have any insight on what you think he should play towards a role in gun violence.
Well, the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan is currently touring the country, and he has been meeting with the rappers, he has been meeting with the gang members, and, he's been doing this for years to give the so-called gang members an understanding of who they really are and who their brothers that they're killing truly are. Because, here we, as the scripture says, we're bone of the same bone, blood of the same blood. We're killing one another. Most of these young men are actually true family members.
Right.
They could be cousins, but because they live on separate parts of the town or wear different colors, they belong to different organizations, they're killing one another. But the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, everywhere he sets his feet, and no matter what city, he ends up going out and speaking to the gangs, whether it's a Blood, a Crip, or a Gangster Disciple, or a BG, or BC. He speaks to them. And they receive him because they see the sincerity in his heart and the love that he has for them. See, all we have to do is go out there in the street and follow his example and go to the men, but they can't smell fear. They can't smell fear. See, the problem is we fear our own children. Okay? And, you could smell fear from a mile away. But if we came out, Brother Jonathan, and walked in our community and talked to our people, instead of being afraid of our people, we would get so much progress in the unification of our community and our people. But we are afraid of our people because we're afraid because we don't know one another. We're more enemies than we are family to one another. And you know what the biggest component that's missing, Brother Jonathan, is that we don't love. We love more of our enemy than we love our own people. We got more love for our slave master and his children than we do for our own people. We'll forgive our slave master and his children for the atrocities that he has done to our people before we forgive one another. And that's an actual fact.
We got another caller.
We got another caller calling on the air.
I guess I wanted to address what the previous caller was speaking on when he asked the question regarding the youth violence. Just on the aspect of what the Nation of Islam or Minister Farrakhan's plan is, or is it there any connection between that and the Million Man March anniversary in Justice or else? And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had said that there was a war we were going to be fighting on two fronts. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
A war we're fighting on two fronts. And so a part of it is trying to establish justice and demanding that justice from the United States government. But the other front that we were fighting was the war of black-on-black crime. And that aspect, as you noted with the caller, he has been crisscrossing the country, and he has been speaking to the inner city youth. Just last week, he was in Ferguson, and the amount of youth that came out and met with him and spoke to him, it was awe-inspiring. But I wanted to say that there are a number of organizations that you could say were inspired by the original Million Man March to address those types of issues, and they're highly skilled and tactical at addressing the issues of youth violence. And if the brother wanted to get someone in Hartford, what I would ask him to do is to, or anyone in the listening audience, ask them to go online and to look up the Peacekeepers. Russell Simmons has been working with the Peacekeepers in New York. And it's a group. They go out. They've been crisscrossing the country. You can find them or identify them. They wear orange T-shirts that have Peacekeepers on it. But that's what I would ask anyone in the listening audience to do, is to try to reach out to the Peacekeepers. That's one organization that deals with that youth violence.
Thank you for your call, caller.
Yeah, thank you for your call. But Brother Johnnie, I mean, as long as I remember, and have followed and known the Nation of Islam, they have always been in the streets. They have never been in the streets. Most of them, when you talk about nationalism, is what it built on. Nationalism means you love your people and care for your people. So they have always been out the streets. Since I was a little boy in the city of Springfield, they have been out in the streets, whether it was selling Muhammad Speaks or getting people engaging and having conversations about the ills. They have always been out there. When we go to every single city, they have always been out there. The problem is because of the denominations, there's people that don't look at it like that. They don't look at them as being in the streets. They don't look at as having a dialogue, or they're in their own circles. Like you're saying, we're not unified. There's certain things, just because he might be a Christian or he might be Jehovah's Witness, they're not going to have the same conversation and dialogue. Somebody told me the other day, well, the Jehovah's Witnesses are not in the streets. The Jehovah's Witnesses are going door to door. Right? Do you see them on the front line?
That's considered in the streets, because they, one thing that we have to understand, Brother Andrew, is that they're making a conscious effort to reach the people, to propagate their faith. And they're going door to door. And I can't deny that, because the fact, when Master Farad Muhammad, who is the founder of the Nation of Islam, came to America, he came to Detroit, Michigan, to Black Bottom, Detroit. And he went door to door.
Right.
Well, and once he went door to door, he was able to meet with people, and once they opened the door to him, he went inside and he taught Islam. He taught Islam, and that was the birth of the nation, where 25,000 black men and women joined the Nation of Islam, because Master Farad Muhammad went door to door.
Right. And
that is the mission of the Nation of Islam. We go door to door as well.
But as a door to door, and you're talking about the streets. Now, there's two different things going door to door in the streets, right? The battle is in the streets. You can go to door. Everybody goes door to door. You got salesmen go to door. You got religious people go to door. People are going to door to door. We need people in the streets.
Well,
that's correct.
Well, as you're walking door to door, you're in the streets. And as you're walking to that door, you're going to run into a young brother or a young sister as you're walking to the next house. And then you're going to run into a group of young men and young women in the streets, which will stop us, and we can talk to them at that particular time. Because you know something, Brother Andrew? Our people are not coming to the mosque, and they're not coming to the church. You could take it or leave it alone. They're not coming.
Well, I agree with you.
They're not coming.
You have to
we
go out
have
there.
to go out there and get them. This is a whole new generation. They're not sitting around waiting to be murdered by the police or anyone else. These young men and women are a whole new generation. They're not trying to sit back, because you know something, brother? We have passed on a legacy of cowardice to our people. We have passed on a legacy of cowardice. Our children see that we have kowtowed to the white man and his system. We're allowing them to kill us, and we're not doing nothing about it. And they're saying to themselves, and they're saying to one another, I'm not going to be like that.
Right.
That's a coward move. We've sitting here and we've allowed this enemy to continue, and you all supposed to be our leaders. You're supposed to be our examples, and you're not doing anything. You're not standing up. That's why they told Jesse and Ferguson, get the hell out of here. You're not no leader.
Yeah, but see, that goes back to my point, Brother Johnny. We're going out to the streets, and I'm not picking on the Jehovah's Witness, but what are they preaching when they go out into the streets? But you can't keep coming up to the people and telling them this is the only way to live, and we're gonna pray on it, and if God is in your life, this is gonna do. That's not. We got to start thinking reality and stuff. There's things that I'm pretty sure that every time a person gets stopped, the first thing they do is pray that nothing happens to them, right? Then the altercation
that's
comes.
where they're at now.
Then and then the altercations come, and then a life is taken away after somebody just told you to let God handle it.
Well, you know something, brother? I'm going to tell you something. You know, you have to have faith.
Right.
But, you know, faith without works is dead.
Right. You got to put them together.
Faith without works is dead.
Right.
You know, unfortunately, we're at a time and point in our life where, you know, we have become profiled. And, you know, right now you have to wonder if you're going to make it home today. You know, but the Holy Quran said, fight with those that fight with you.
Mm-hmm.
Fight with, see, and that's why they don't want Islam in America. Because, you know something, we don't have that teaching, you slap me, I turn the cheek, and I slap the other side. That's not our way. Okay? And in the Bible, it doesn't say that. It says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and a life for a life.
Mm-hmm.
But see, we allow it now. You take my life, and it's okay. It's not okay.
Right.
It's not okay. See, we say we follow the Bible. We don't follow the Bible. Because, like I said, in the Bible it says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and a life for a life. Right. In the Holy Quran, it says Allah hates the aggressor. But also in the Quran, there is a verse on retaliation. See, that's why they don't like it, because, you know, you can't slap me and don't expect to get the hell knocked out of you.
Right.
That's not going to happen. See, that's why they didn't like Malcolm, because Malcolm said, send him to the grave.
Right.
See, that's that good old religion.
Send him 6 feet under.
That's that good old religion.
Right.
I bet you, man, let me stop. 15 minutes
there
on
you go.
the 15 minutes on the downside of 1 o'clock with 90.7 WTCC FM. Respect for life, Brother Johnny Muhammad, Brother Andrew, A.K. Soul, Keaton. Phone lines open at 413-736-278. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. You know something? You have me going, and you gonna stop, man.
No, you know something, brother?
We're gonna lose an hour. We about to lose an hour in this show.
Yeah, whatever. But you know something? What troubles me, Brother Andrew, I don't want to seem as though I'm trying to promote violence, because I'm not. I'm not a violent person. But I'm tired of seeing mothers losing their sons, mothers losing their daughters, and there's not a damn thing being done about it. All we're doing is having vigils
or praying on it, and that's what my point is, brother. I mean, the same thing what you said, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. We just so docile, man. We turn, a person is murdered right in front of you, and the same thing. The parents come out right on national, and it's always when they come out on national media. Behind the camera, they want to get this person, or this person is this and that ain't right. And as soon as the national media comes, they praying on it. Who coached them to say that?
But you know what killed? Where you killed 9 people. A white man walks up in a black church, kills 9 people, and then you come out on the camera and says, "I forgive you." What the hell is wrong with you?
Trying to find a way.
It's not okay.
We're gonna lose an hour. We about to lose an hour in this show.
Men and women are a whole new generation. They're not trying to sit back, because you know something, brother? We have passed on a legacy of cowardice to our people.
Period on the Willie Lynch letter. When
or are provoked.
Something is wrong with